Hello, everyone. It's like you feel that someone might love you, but one day they're definitely going to leave. I want us to talk about where the fear of abandonment comes from and how it seeps into our lives. Even though there are people who truly love us by our side, and even though we know this, why do we live with the fear that one day they will leave? And how exactly does this feeling take root in childhood?
Anxiety impairs our ability to reason. In other words, it prevents us from seeing the facts. Because we approach what we see with anxiety, we interpret and make sense of things by adding our own commentary. For example, how can situations like, why isn't he calling me? Why is he texting less? Or why was he a bit cold towards me today? Always be about us. Did something actually happen? No, then it can't be about us. Look, the brain doesn't like emptiness. And since anxiety is dominant, our perspective becomes linked to anxiety, and that's how these kinds of conclusions arise. Maybe he just had a bad day or was really busy that day. Maybe his mind is preoccupied. Or, I don't know, even if it is about a relationship, maybe he's acting that way because he doesn't feel ready to bring up the topic. So again, his mind is occupied. It's better to wait until he's ready. I mean, we can only speed up the process because in situations like this, when we push the other person too much, it usually leads to arguments because the person in front of you feels misunderstood. For example, you might say something like this: is there something wrong with you today? He said, no, not really, or something like that. He said, no, and brushed it off. He doesn't want to answer. You could say this, for example: I think there's something going on with you. Without arguing, he said, yes, there is something, but I don't feel ready to talk about it yet. Give me some time. You might say again, but I'm really curious. You want to ease your anxiety as soon as possible. But no, that's not how you treat anxiety. No matter what kind of anxiety it is, attachment anxiety, anxiety about the future, exam anxiety, whatever it may be, people usually need clarity to relieve their anxiety. But that's not the solution. It's just a temporary fix. First of all, it's always beneficial to communicate openly and to ask questions. You can even just come right out and ask directly. Do you love someone else? Is there someone else in your life?
Very straightforward.
Yes, it's much better than hinting.
How does this fear of abandonment truly lead us into a significant relational cycle in our adulthood?
We can't form attachments. We're afraid to get attached because we're even more afraid of being abandoned. Actually, what we're really afraid of there is not attachment, but being abandoned or deceived.
That's why we can't experience love.
Yes.
Inside such a relational cycle,
Mhm.
is it like we end up in a trial and error situation?
Well, we've given plenty of examples of this in this video. It's like a bottomless pit. No matter how much you try to clarify things or be sure, a mind that produces anxiety will always keep producing anxiety. It pushes for this. Sometimes you also need to learn how to live with anxiety.
Actually, we can control it.
We can ignore it.
What should be the first step we take to set aside anxiety and build a more secure attachment?
To truly know ourselves. Okay. Let's say you have anxious attachment.
I do, and I realized it after watching this video.
Yes.
What should I do? What should my second step be?
Now, as a result of anxious attachment, what kinds of behaviors do you display in the relationship?
I constantly develop paranoid and unsettling thoughts.
Open communication. For example, you can ask,
Okay?
don't ever think, will I bother the other person if I ask this or that? My spouse also had anxious attachment. We overcame that. He said it openly. He told me, I have anxious attachment. And I said, you can ask me anything that comes to your mind. All right? And he really did ask everything. Okay, we're watching a movie there. He'd ask, what if this happens? What if that happens to you? Like, I don't know, what if I get into a car accident and lose my leg? Would you leave me?
The partner's importance is huge because your anxiety, well, I think it's a certain level of anxiety. There needs to be someone who can handle that.
Because inevitably, the person who creates the anxiety is the partner of the one with anxious attachment. Because with their presence,
Yes,
If they don't let anyone into their life, their anxious attachment doesn't increase, then we need to be patient. Is this anxiety of mine real or not? When will we get married?
Yes.
I asked as someone with anxious attachment, when will we get married? And he said to you, let me take care of these things first. I'm waiting for a promotion. It will be between these times. After that, we'll get married. He said, I have to work very hard until I get the promotion. Now, as someone who is aware that you have anxious attachment, you've received a clear answer here.
Yes.
You won't fall into that bottomless pit. You need to be patient. Filter it through logic a bit. Now, jokes aside, checking someone's phone or, I don't know, looking at their Instagram followers, these are things that increase your anxiety. For example, let's say you go on your boyfriend's Instagram and look at who he's following. There, you see that he's following a lot of women who you find attractive. What will this unhealthy anxiety do to you? Now, it's become a bit more concrete.
I wonder if he's talking to them.
Yes.
Thoughts like, I wonder if he's liking their photos start to form. But think about it this way. Someone who does this has already accepted the risk of losing you.
But the situation of being willing to lose you could also be imaginary.
That could be the case too. But of course, first and foremost, you need to talk. If you see that you can't talk about this,
Yes.
they've accepted the risk of losing you.
For example, you brought up a really good point. If they truly don't want to lose you, they will certainly want to cherish you all the more and value your presence, more commitment to you. This also makes you feel more secure. Ask yourself this. How would your partner be afraid of losing you? What would they be afraid of losing you over? If they find you very handsome or beautiful, if they think you're very intellectual, or if they feel that being with you is really good for them, then they would be afraid of losing you. In that case, you can also feel more secure. But when you start worrying about them losing you, you begin to become overly accommodating. And what I'm saying is, let's completely reverse this approach. Instead of being afraid of losing them, focus on making them more attached to you. In other words, instead of bringing negative things into the relationship, bring in beautiful things. Then they won't go anywhere anyway. And if they do move on or leave, then let them go from that relationship. That person is not the right one, and they will deeply regret realizing they've lost you.
If you liked the video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Remember, your comments guide us.
Yes.
Thank you once again for watching. We will see you in our very next video.
See you.